This very unusual phonograph is the Amet Echophone. It was invented by Edward Amet, who was an Illinois inventor. He had first created large motors to adapt earlier electric phonographs like the Edison Class M and the Bell Tainter machines to be used with a spring motor. But in 1896 he decided to create a phonograph of his own. It's kind of odd that a motor manufacturer of his renown actually turned to a clockmaker, the Waterbury Clock Company, to buy motors for his own little machine. This was an attempt to introduce a very inexpensive phonograph to the general public. This cost only $5 when it was released in 1896, and at that time the cheapest Columbia graphophone that was in the market was the Type N, which cost $40. And the cheapest Edison phonograph was the spring motor at $75. So $5 was remarkably cheap, although given inflation it was still over $100 in today's money for a very, very simple little mechanism. It could be fitted with either a horn, as you see here, or more commonly with ear tubes. The horn is not the same as what you'll find on Edison Gems or Columbia Eagles and the like. It's very lightweight. It has a tiny opening with a fairly wide bell. The most unusual aspect of the Echophone is the reproducer. It has a glass tube with a stylus on the end shaped into the tube. It sits on a wooden peg on top of a wooden assembly in which there's a sealed rubber piece of tubing with a hole on the bottom. As that vibrates, the sound is emitted through the bottom of the rubber tube and out through a hole in the front where either ear tubes or the horn can be placed. On this one, as you can see, the top wood piece is cracked. Nonetheless, it still plays effectively. There's a spring with a piece of thread tied to a little winding key here that can be used to tighten the spring and increase the amount of pressure of the stylus on the record, because there is no feed screw. This has a wooden mandrel. Later ones were made with gutta percha. The majority of them were gutta percha. It has a notch cut into the center. That was an apparent attempt to get around the Edison patents for tapering mandrel. It was a clever idea. Unfortunately for him, it did infringe patents, and Columbia sued Amet in 1896 and won a permanent injunction, at which point Amet was driven out of business and all of his remaining machines were taken over by Columbia and liquidated through various mail-order houses. Many of the contemporary ads show it with a horn that's angled upwards. That was a little bit of artistic license. In reality, the horns always were pointed straight. This was certainly not a sophisticated machine. Very simple spring motor. String for a belt. The off-on switch is also the speed adjustment. It's important for it to be level for it to play.